Hello and welcome back to Footy Thoughts. Today we are going to discuss essentially our predictions for the rest of the season. But first, after the news about Frank Lampard getting the sack, I'm just going to hand it over to Chris to rant. Here you go.
Well, thank you. Yes, indeed. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Today in this morning around not too sure what the time was, but I was at work and I was going on Twitter and on the Daily Telegraph, and Matt Law, who's a very trustworthy journalist, posted that Frank Lampard is expected to be sacked by Chelsea Football Club, and that has unfortunately turned out to be the case. I was completely gutted about the news, because I have so much respect for Frank Lampard. What he did for Chelsea as a player and his career was just brilliant, and he'll always be a Chelsea legend. He'll always be welcomed back to the club. But in terms of the sacking, I was shocked by the news, but unfortunately I wasn't surprised, because it's just, it's the way that Roman Abramovich runs the club, and this is the way Chelsea run the club. I mean, yes, results haven't been great over the last few weeks, and the performances haven't been there. I mean, we've won only I think we've lost 5 games out of 8, which isn't fantastic with the squad we have. We spent a lot of money in the transfer window, 200 million on the likes of Timo Werner and Havertz, but they just haven't performed. And it was always going to take time as well. It was always going to take time with the players that we bought. You couldn't. I mean, obviously, Chelsea are a very highly expectant club. They expect to spend money, and it's always how it's been run. But it was going to take time. And Lampard's a young manager who's trying to earn his trade. He did a fantastic job at Derby. A fantastic job. He got Derby to the playoffs, and no one really expected him to. I mean, because with his lack of experience, no one knew how well he's going to do. But he did brilliantly. Took on Mason Mount at Derby and Fikayo Tomori, and they were tremendous. And he came to Chelsea with only a year experience at Derby, which, in my opinion, as much as I loved Lampard getting appointed, but I did think it was too soon. But he did brilliant. I think he's done a great job. I mean, especially the first season, couldn't sign any players, had a transfer ban, and so we couldn't sign anyone. But we brought through the youngsters. Callum Hudson-Odoi, broke into the first team and has been playing. And he's been playing well now. He's just turned to great form. Tammy Abraham, he was on loan at Aston Villa, I believe, but then came back, and he was our top goal scorer for the first season. And people forget how good he was. How good he was in his first season. To be a top goal scorer at Chelsea takes some beating. And he brought through obviously the Mason Mount, again, great player, proved himself within the academy, and he's brought them through, and Reece James as well. And he's brought, I think he's left Chelsea in a good place for whoever it looks like it's going to be Tuchel, from ex-manager of Paris Saint-Germain. But I mean, guys, I could go on forever about this, and I know we got a podcast to do, but I was very sad about the news. But again, I wasn't surprised.
Do you think it should have happened, or did you want him to have time?
Personally, I would have given him to the end of the season. Sure. I feel like we should give him more time. I mean, 18 months. 18 months really isn't a lot of time for any manager. You look at, Jurgen Klopp when he first came to Liverpool, didn't win anything in his first, I think his it took him 3 seasons to win his first trophy, or
Took a while.
around that. And Pep as well at City, he didn't win anything in his first season, but they gave him time. And this is what frustrates me as a Chelsea fan. Despite the success we've had, and I've loved the success, don't get me wrong, we've been a successful club in winning premierships, like FA Cups, seems to be frequently, but it just never happens long term. Like I think in terms of managers, I mean, this is our 15th manager that we've sacked since Roman Abramovich took over the club. I mean, it's astonishing.
Do you get annoyed by it as a fan?
Yes, I do. I do. But then I think if we stuck with someone long term, I mean, I'm thinking that all the managers we've had, would we have had the most amount of sex? Because in a way, it's worked. We've hired managers for 2 seasons and then bring in another manager, and it continues to success.
Yeah.
But as a football club, and in terms of developing a squad, with the young players, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. Football is a business. It's all based on results. I mean, Pep summed it up brilliantly. I think you can have a project and an idea as a manager when you come into a football club, but at the end of the day, that it doesn't really exist anymore. All what matters is results, and that's ultimately cost Lampard his job. I mean, yeah, he's done a brilliant. In my eyes, he's left the club in a better state than it was when Sarri left. I believe, because we lost Hazard, who was arguably the best player in the Premiership. We had a transfer ban. I mean, everything was against Lampard in that first season, and yet we still finished in the top 4, and we got to an FA Cup final.
Yeah.
What happened in that final?
Well, I thought I knew you were going to say something about it. Anthony Taylor put in a brilliant performance. But
he was
Arsenal
good.
were the better side. Arsenal were the better team. But
what do you make of it, Josh, about Lampard?
I mean, yeah, I'm a bit surprised it happened today. I mean, obviously they haven't been in great form, and this is what Chelsea do whenever a manager goes in a bad run.
That's what I was shocked at as well. Like, I only saw it because you sent the message. I was like, I'm not going to repeat what I said, but I was shocked. And I thought if he was going to get sacked, it'd be after the City game, where they literally got torn apart. And then the Leicester game, it didn't look like the signs were there for in the Leicester game. Didn't look like the players were kind of playing for him at all. So the signs were there, but I just thought it was confidence. But it clearly something's going on in that dressing room, and it's led up. If the rumours are true, and it's Kepa's like one of the voices that's got into his head, then that's just crazy decision if he's trusting Kepa over Lampard. But it's one of those, and my opinion on it is if it was anyone else, they would have gone before. Like Lampard, get rid of the footballing side of it, like his football career, his playing career. If it was, say, I don't know, if Ollie or Arteta were there or any other manager, I reckon he would have gone not long time ago, but he would have gone already. And what's crazy is only 4 managers have lasted longer than it. Well, I don't know about the Jose one because they put his 2 stints together, so I don't know the actual stats, but at least only 3 managers have managed more games in the Premier League than Lampard under Abramovich, and that is nuts.
Crazy. I think it was obviously Mourinho with his 2 spells, Carlo Ancelotti, who had 2 seasons, and Antonio Conte.
Ranieri as well as the other one. But
yeah.
I mean,
But
most of
Lampard
his
had
tenure
actually
was
more
before
time.
Abramovich came. So
yeah, I suppose, yeah. He was on the list. I trusted the list.
Yeah. But one quick point. I mean, as much as I think Lampard's done a good job, there were signs of things not improved. I mean, like, for example, against City, the way we were torn apart in the first half was, and not just that, we didn't really have any fight back. We didn't show any signs of getting back into the game. I mean, we were torn apart too easily. Again, even against Arsenal, I mean, the way that Arsenal, especially with the form they were on, the way their youngsters just completely, I mean, we just didn't look like scoring in that game. I know we scored right at the end as a consolation goal, but the signs have been there. We haven't played well. I mean, I think I can't remember the last. It's been a long time since we played a decent game of
the Philly.
yeah. I mean, even against Fulham when we won, we looked very, and Fulham had 10 men.
That was poor, I thought. Like, you scraped past them and,
Yeah.
I know we didn't easily beat them, but they had 10 men for half the match. The quality you had on the pitch, you should be doing better.
Definitely.
I don't know if that's us overhyping your players or us being fair that Lampard should do better with the players. I don't even know.
I think he should be doing better with the quality of players that they have. It'll be interesting to see how Tuchel does.
Yeah.
I think he's a decent manager, but he does have a habit of falling out with the owners and the players. So
it's not a great sign to start, is it?
It doesn't seem like it's going to be a long term, but it never is at Chelsea anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing that bugs me as well is that, I mean, no doubt, I think, I'm sure he's a good manager, but the reason I think Roman's brought him in is to get the best out of Timo Werner and Havertz. I don't think it's a decision based on the whole squad.
What I'll be interested in is, did he get on with Thiago Silva? Because if he didn't, then Jesus.
Yeah, it's a very risky appointment, to be honest. Because I mean, he won trophies at Paris Saint-Germain, but no offense to the French league, it's someone.
Pochettino won a trophy there, mate.
I know, and that thing. I mean, ex-Tottenham manager. I mean, Mika. But then I think Tottenham should go in the French league. But yeah,
they still wouldn't, really.
No.
Well, yeah, that's true. They'll bottle it somewhere, wouldn't they? But in terms of Frank Lampard's future, I think he will get another job, without a doubt.
I think he'll get another job. He'll grow as a manager and he'll come back. I think it was too soon.
Yeah.
If he's any good, he'll come back. He'll return to Chelsea, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And I don't think he'll regret taking the job either. I think, he's seen it, he's done it now. And it's a good thing to have on his CV. I mean, I know he didn't win anything, but that's another thing. Like, to be a good manager now, you have to win something. Like, it's not necessarily the case.
Unless your name's Pochettino.
Yeah, but and someone said I was listening to Talk Sport on the way back from work, would Solskjaer get this if he was at Chelsea? Would he get the same amount of time?
Oh no, he would
have been gone ages ago.
Him and Arteta, if we were at the start of the season, if you were us, if Abramovich owned us, Ollie would have gone. Then the spell that
run Arteta went on, he would have gone after that.
He would have gone, without a doubt. So I think he lasted quite long in a way. But it's one of those where people just, what I've noticed on Twitter is people who don't even support Chelsea are mad about it. And I think they're more mad than the Chelsea fans themselves. It just looks a bit silly. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think it's easier to judge things if from an outer perspective. I think, if you're not part of the, I think it's easy to say, oh yeah, Frank should have been sacked. But I mean, watching the performances as a Chelsea fan, and as much as I love Frank, as I keep saying, but it's the performances weren't there, and the team just doesn't seem happy with how we've been set up. So I think that's ultimately led to the players not feeling confident in the way he sets the team up. We'll wait and see what happens.
For sure. Right, should we go on with our predictions? That's enough about that plonk.
Let's get cracking.
Should we start at the top or the bottom of the table?
Should we go to the top?
Yeah, should we start at the top?
Yeah.
How are we going to do this? Should we just say I'll count down 1, 2, 3, and then after 3 we'll say who is going to win the league, in our opinion.
Yes.
That way everyone can have their opinion straight away. Ready? 1, 2, 3, City.
Sheffield United.
Man City.
Sheffield United.
Sorry. Man City.
Clean sweep. Yeah, I think the form they're in, the fact that they've still got Aguero to come back, Sterling to get back to his best.
Yeah.
The people have really stepped up this season, I think. I think obviously De Bruyne, he's out injured, but I don't think he'll have that much of an effect on them. Bernardo Silva's stepped up again. He had a season off last season. I don't know where he was, but he's come back. And he's playing class. Foden, of course, he's class. I love him. I hate saying that because he's City, but I love him. Gundogan, he seems to be scoring every game I watch. I don't know where that's come from. Then obviously Dias has come in, Stones. They've just been classed at back. And Walker, who I've slated for years, I think this is his best season. So,
For sure.
just all over the place, they look strong. And it's in depth as well.
Yes.
Cancelo's looking good.
I don't think they have a weakness in their squad.
No.
Like, I haven't seen a weakness this season. I mean, their defense has improved. Their strike force is just crazy with how many options they have. I mean, Aguero hasn't come back to full fitness yet. I mean, when he comes back, goodness knows. I mean,
He's had a stinker of a season, by the way. He's been injured and then he's come back from injury. Then he had to shield because he's been in close contact with people with COVID, and then he's got COVID himself now. I'm like, oh my God.
luck hasn't been on his side this season. But yeah, they've got a brilliant squad and a brilliant manager as well.
Yeah. I just can't see past them at the moment. But who knows? Might not. But they just look the most consistent and most...
Yeah.
The fact that they've done it before as well will help them. And they want to win it back as well. There'll be that motivation as well. But yeah, that's who I'm going for, unfortunately.
And also, I mean, they've strengthened as well, City. I mean, by Ferran Torres and Garcia at the back, they've actually strengthened as well, whereas Liverpool haven't really. I mean, they bought Thiago, but they've got no other defensive options at the back. And
that's the thing with Liverpool.
I'm amazed they haven't bought a centre back.
Yeah,
I'll say
they need one.
Nat, or whatever one played, Van Dijk look like he's useless. Honestly,
Williams.
the one that let Rashford through on Sunday.
He had a terrible game.
Bad game.
But
it's not that they can't get a centre back. I mean, there's plenty of centre backs out there who would love to play for Liverpool.
They can have Mustafi. We're terminating his contract.
Do you know what? I think they should go for one of the Burnley centre backs, Ben Mee or Tarkowski.
Yeah.
They'd fit in right away. They do a job for them.
And Burnley will be willing to sell as well, I think.
You would have thought so. I know they've got new owners now, so money's not really a problem anymore for them, but it's just one of those. I don't think the Liverpool board like to pay up? It's a weird one.
Yeah, like considering the success that they've had, you'd think they'd be more than happy to back Klopp, but they're not. And you can see Klopp's getting quite frustrated by that.
Yeah,
And
it's weird.
Mm.
Like I looked at our bench compared to their bench yesterday. It's the first time in years I preferred our bench, and they're in a weird situation. I think they'll be like fine, but it's weird. It's weird.
It's strange. I mean, you would have thought that, especially this winter, they'll be interested in more players, because at the moment, I don't think they're interested in anyone. I don't think they've made any activity, and I think that's, for a club like Liverpool, who are looking. I mean, they're probably looking now qualifying for Champions League rather than winning the league.
I've not wrote them off. I've got them down a second. So, like, I've not written them off at all. I think they'll come back. I think they're just on a bad run, and once they pick up a few wins, they'll get momentum again.
Yeah,
I've not written them off. I know centre back's a problem, and it doesn't look like Van Dijk or Gomez will return before the end of the season. But yeah, I just think that going forward, they'll find their form again. Saying that, they've been shot.
yeah. I mean, at least they scored yesterday.
they miss Jota a lot, I think.
Yeah,
because Firmino's been in shocking form for a while now.
Yeah, it was a good assist yesterday.
Yeah, he made a good assist, but ultimately he needs to be scoring.
Yeah. Who have you got second?
I've put Manchester United. I think, yeah, I and for two. I mean, yeah, two players for my eyes, Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. If you keep those players fit, I mean, they're having great seasons so far, and they just like gel the team together. I've Fernandes, he's been I think he's the best signing that United have made in a while.
Since Van Persie, hands down.
Yeah, since Van Persie, he just looks the complete player. The way he passes, the way he motivates his team. Yeah, and even Pogba as well. He's changed his outlook as well, and his form has been brilliant. I mean, people have been arguing it's because he wants to, he wants to force a move. He wants clubs to be interested in him, but I don't think that's the case. I think Ollie's brought the best out of him.
There'll probably be a bit of that, but I think it's more we're at the top of the table. We're not well. At the moment, we're challenging to stay up there, and he's determined to stay there. That's why he came to United. He's come to win the Premier League, and
of course.
Previous seasons we've been battling for fourth place, and I can understand his lack of motivation. But this season he's stepped up. I think I've put us third, but I think Cavani is huge for us. I think he is one of the signings of the summer, probably. He's really stepped it up, and he's shown what we've been missing as a centre forward. Like, he's a workhorse. He has the quality, and he's easily the best number 7 since Ronaldo. Like, in my eyes, he's the game changer. But obviously Bruno and Pogba play in class, but Cavani, the mentality, the winning mentality. Anyway. Who you got second, Josh?
I've also got Man United.
That's happy.
I think as well as what you said, I think Rashford's been really good this season. De Gea's had a better season this season. I think the last couple of seasons he's not been at his best, but this season he's been a lot better. I think having Henderson to push him's probably helped.
Yeah. Shaw stepped up as well.
Yeah.
That's enough one. That one surprised me because I was a big, not hater, but slater of Shaw. and he's really stepped up this season. Again, it's the competition within the squad. Teller's come in and pushed him. Henderson's come in and pushed De Gea, and I think everyone's pushing everyone. And the midfield's interesting. You never know what midfield we're going to put out, and like usually it's a bit dodgy but it's all right because they're all actually quite good players. And I love Fred, little Frederick in the middle, causing havoc. He's a good lad.
Yeah, I like Fred. He's a good. He's just a workhorse, but he has, he's got that Brazilian quality as well.
Yeah.
He's a vital player to your team. Like, he actually does so much work off the ball and his interceptions as well. And yeah, I think he's vital. He's like your kind of, if he's kind of play, he's kind of like a Kante, who just likes breaking up the play, and he just loves and doing what he does.
Him and Scotty together, Scott McTominay, they're a decent partnership. And I think he's highly underrated, Scotty.
For sure.
People are linking us to Declan Rice, and I literally can't see the difference between him and Scotty. And I'll tell you Rice, happy days, he can be Matic's replacement. But in my eyes, I don't see much difference. But it's one of those. Who have you got third? Anyone?
Ooh. Josh, should I go?
I've got Leicester.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, they are playing well. I think obviously last season they tailed off quite badly at the end of the season, and I think Vardy's injured at the moment, which is obviously a big blow for them.
He was shocking last week, by the way. My captain, absolute shocking.
But I think
it was shocking because we would have lost by more.
But I think they've shown an ability to win without him, which they haven't always had.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully they'll learn from what happened last season.
And I like them, and I think Brendan Rodgers is quality. That's who I think Chelsea missed out on. When they appointed Lampard, they should have appointed Rodgers, but it's hindsight, isn't it? And yeah, Leicester, Harvey Barnes has really impressed me this season. He seems to play every game as well, and his fitness is class. Fafana has been class. They've got loads of James Justin,
They just seem to. Their scouting's really good. They just seem to find these really good young players.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Maddison as well. James Maddison he's I think he's so underrated. I think he could, in my opinion, him and Mason Mount are going to have a really good competition for the England squad in who starts for the England squad in the Euros.
And Foden will have a say something about that as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it's looking very promising for our chances.
It'll be Harry Winks. Right?
Harry Winks, Mason Mount, and Declan Rice.
Oh my goodness! Oh, probably.
Southgate. He won't play the best players.
No.
You never know. But yeah, they're two very good players.
Who you got third, Chris?
I have gone for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Liverpool. I mean, I know they're on a bad run of form now, but I just think they've, in hindsight, they've got world-class players. I mean, no disrespect to Leicester, they've done fantastic. They've got brilliant players themselves, but I think because Liverpool have, they won the league last season, and they've, I mean, it's saw yesterday Mo Salah. When he turns up, he turns up.
Yeah.
And they've still got Mane. I know Firmino's not ungrateful, but he does offer so much to that team, and I just think they've got more strength and depth. That's just purely my reason. I mean, no disrespect to Leicester either, because they've done well, but I just think they're too strong. But I could be wrong.
Who knows? Fourth, I've got Leicester for exactly the same reason. Quite simple, really.
Yeah,
I just rate them. I like them. Who you
I
got
do.
fourth?
I've got Leicester.
Got Leicester as well.
Yeah, Leicester fourth. I think they'll get in. I think they'll get top four. I think they'll
I hope
again.
they do. I hope
They
they
deserve
do.
it. They deserve it. I mean, more. I think more than the teams below them. To be honest,
Yeah.
that's really why I've gone.
Like we've missed out Spurs, we missed out Arsenal,
That's all
Chelsea.
right.
It's like it's that sort of season. Who you
Mm.
got fourth, Josh?
I've got Liverpool fourth.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if Chelsea make a little run.
Yeah, new manager.
Could be. I mean, you never know. I mean, normally with a new manager, the team has a positive outcome. Positive start. So it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've only got a short time left.
Oh yes, I saw.
We got 7 minutes, but who have you got bottom? Sheffield United?
Yes.
Yes.
United? That one's sorted.
Sweet.
West Brom second bottom.
Yeah. Okay, that one's sorted. Right, we'll just go on to who's got third bottom.
This is the juicy one.
I think that one's the debatable one. I've gone Brighton. I've had enough of them.
Ooh.
I think they're lacking goals. I think they don't have a striker, which I know they got Welbeck, but I think he's injured again.
Yeah.
Mopé's just lost it ever since he said he was the best player in the world. And they're just not winning games, and Fulham are right behind them. So I'm going them. If Lamptey returns from injury, then it might be a game changer. But otherwise, I just can't see it. I think Fulham have shown a lot of promise over the last few weeks, and I think they'll have enough to get a few wins together. If they play like they played us, Chelsea, and Spurs, and I think they gave them all really good games. So if they play the bottom sides like they played us, top sides, then I think they'll get wins. But yeah, I'm going Brighton third bottom. How about you?
So bit of a surprising one. I've got Newcastle.
Yeah. At the bottom of my notes, I put Newcastle are lucky.
I've also put Newcastle.
Oh, hello.
The reason I've gone for Newcastle is just their style of football. It's so one-dimensional. It's untrue, and I don't know whether that's because of Steve Bruce or probably most likely Steve.
It's absolutely because of Steve Bruce.
That's the only reason I haven't put them in the bottom three, because I thought he was going to get sacked soon, and I think Eddie Howe will come in. But I
don't know. You can never predict what Mike Ashley's going to do.
No.
Like any normal manager or any normal owner, I think would probably sack Bruce.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what Mike Ashley's going to do.
No. And I just, I agree.
Bruce just like they've banned newspapers from asking him questions in press conferences now. Like he just seems to have really lost the plot a bit.
Yeah.
Like I know the fans hate him and have hated him ever since he arrived, and you can kind of see why, because the style of football's terrible, and he's not helped.
I think
his comments as well.
The start of the season, they were getting away with it because they were scoring last minute, like equaliser or winner. So they were getting away with it, and they were actually quite high in the table. But then a mixture of not getting that luck and St. Maximin being out for what seems like 3 months. He's back now, but in those 3 months, they lacked so much. They were so poor.
Yeah.
How they drew to Liverpool, I don't know.
Their
Yes.
goalie had a great game, basically.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
But
Yeah, they've just gone. I feel they've gone backwards under since Rafa left. I
Yeah.
mean, they've just gone backwards, and I mean to set a team up to just literally, it's just a long ball to Carroll or Wilson, and then they just go through there. I don't in the Premier League. You need like versatility, and I think I look at Fulham. They've improved over the last. I look at even Brighton as well. I know they haven't been on great form, but at least they try and play the
they
game.
play nice football, yeah.
They do, yeah. And I just with Newcastle, just they're boring. I mean, sorry, not. I don't want to be too mean, but
No,
It
you
is
can say
boring,
it's
mate.
boring.
I think most Newcastle fans would probably agree that
Yeah.
it is.
And Newcastle fans, I think they deserve better.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Than just and if Mike Ashley doesn't make his mind up soon, I could see them going down.
Yeah. If he doesn't get sacked, they're in huge trouble.
Yeah.
Because I'm not having that. The players are even happy with this situation.
They can't be.
No, they can't be. I mean,
They
you
can't
look at.
want to play like that.
I mean,
You've got Callum Wilson who's just come in as your main striker, and he's watching the 10 other teammates defend whilst he's up on his own. He can't be happy with that.
no, it must be so demoralising for the creative players in that team just to watch. Like you said, 10 men behind the ball. It can't be enjoyable either for the players. If I was told to just defend for 90 minutes, if I was a player, and just try to, I'll be bored.
Yeah.
I would actually be bored. But we'll wait and see.
I liked it when it was Arsenal going down. Remember those days?
I know. They were the happy days.
We're playing each other next Saturday, mate. Can't wait. I'm scared.
Only 2 points behind us now.
That's why you've sacked Lampard.
Yeah, we couldn't take it anymore.
Embarrassing that you're only 2 points ahead.
Who you got midweek? I know Chelsea have Wolves.
We've got Southampton again.
Oh yeah,
Who
double bill.
knocked us out of the cup.
Walter Peters is injured that I saw today, so that's a good.
Yeah, I think we'll play a stronger team, obviously, and
you'd hope so.
Yeah, we got that on Saturday. But
yeah.
To be honest, it's not. I don't think it's the end of the world that we're out of the cup this year.
Nah, I wouldn't have been moaning if we were out, but obviously it's nice to beat the Scousers. So
yeah,
you never know.
Anyway, good episode. Lovely. Lampard is gone. It was good. Let's see. We'll see at the end of the season if any of these were right at all, because we could be way off.